Thank you, Abraham, for everything. I've been listening to your words for about a year now, every day, and they've really changed my life in many ways. I have 3 questions. 2 of them are related. The first 2, which are related, I was wondering if you could help me figure out my life purpose. And related to that was whether you could give a little more information than is contained in A New Beginning 1 and 2 in your tape on contacting your inner being, about the process of contacting the inner being after movement is experienced in the body.
We talked about you in your physical body being an extension of source energy, and how that non-physical part of you came forth eagerly into this environment, understanding that the environment would inspire ideas for you. So when you talk about a life's purpose, it's always a little interesting to us, because that question, and we hear it from a lot of people, makes it sound like you were sent here with some specific mission, but it was kept secret from you as a sort of test to see if you could figure out what it would be.
Right.
And nothing like that is happening. You came forth as non-physical energy in the same way that you made a decision to come to this seminar, or in the same way that you make a decision to participate in anything, because you wanted exposure to an experience that would be life-giving in nature. So in very simple but accurate terms, we would say to you, your life's purpose is to come forth into a diverse environment and be inspired to the details of the specific life that you would choose. And we would go further as to say what your real life's purpose is to then figure out how to become a vibrational match to what life has inspired you to be. You see, it isn't that you are sent forth to different places at different times with different reasons. You all come forth knowing that out of the environment that you will conclude what's best for you. And it is so known from broader perspective that the more of you who are mixing it up, then the greater opportunity for the new ideas to be born. The expansion of the universe is born out of the variety in which you are living. And so if there is a purpose in the way that you want to assign it, that purpose has to be joy. You came forth to find a way to have joy in this moment. So our friend says, I have a job and I'm not liking it all that much. And we say, your purpose is joy. And he says, then I should quit this job and go someplace where there is more joy. And we say, you are a joy-seeking being, and it may be very well that you will find joy someplace other than where you are, but unless you get in the habit of looking for it everywhere you are, you're not likely to find it in the next place. Because if you're not joy-seeking, if you're just offering a vibration willy-nilly without any deliberate intent in the way you are offering it, then law of attraction is just going to respond to whatever mood you've got going, and you can very well find yourself far from being joy-finding. And we promise you, unless you are joy-seeking, you cannot be joy-finding. You have to be reaching for the vibe of that. So the first time someone asked us this question, we said, you have a triad of intentions. You want to know what your purpose of life is. We will say you had intentions that were deeply rooted within you when you decided to come forth into this body. And those 3 intentions were, the basis of your life is freedom, and you know it. And we've talked about that here today. When you perceive freedom, you feel joyful. And when you don't perceive, and we use the word very carefully, perceive, because you are so free you can choose bondage if you choose it. But the freedom or bondage is self-imposed every time. We don't care what the external circumstances appear to be. Nothing can defy law of attraction. And so the basis of your life is freedom. Now, the result of being this free being exposed to this diverse environment, the result of that will be conscious expansion. And so the next part of the triad is, with the basis being freedom, is expansion is just a natural given. You cannot hold the expansion back. But the third piece to this triad is joy. And if you get it, that your goal, your intention, your dominant desire is joy, and you will fixate on that moment by moment by moment by moment. Well, you can't help but have the expansion. It's going to happen whether you have joy or not. And you can't help but be free. You are, whether you are that you know that you are or not. And when you get your sights set on joy, everything falls into place. And now you are living what you've come forth to live. Did you have intentions when you came forth? Of course you did. You are an uplifter to the very core of your being. You intended and expected to find some lovely way to express yourself and live, and you knew that through the clarity of your example that you would provide an avenue for many others. In other words, you are a teacher to the very core of your being. But there is not one narrow path that we could even begin to assign to you as your purpose in life. If you have a purpose, if any of you have a purpose, it would be, I have this ever-changing purpose of finding the next most possible way where I can find a viability to joy. In other words, ever-changing and always perfect. So when you look around and you say, well, that's a pretty good purpose in life, to be a joy-seeking. We say, it is the purpose of everyone. And then you say, well, now I don't find feel all that special. And we say, well, then you're off your path of joy. In other words, you just have to realize that all who are here came with the intention of joyfully expressing. And when you get that and you start living that, before you know it, once you start applying some of the things that you're hearing here, and you start acknowledging that law of attraction is, and you start acknowledging that you have guidance that lets you know what you are in this moment attracting, and you start noticing the correlation between what you're thinking and feeling and what's manifesting. Once you begin to get this, all of the mysteries of the universe begin to dissolve. All of that big secret becomes not a secret anymore, as you now understand why your life is unfolding as it is, and why the lives of those that you're up close enough to that you know their mood and attitude. You get so that you understand the workings of this universe, because law of attraction is so magnificently consistent. So we could offer a more exaggerated, detailed statement by saying the purpose of your life, and we assume you're talking about this life at this time in this body. Yes. The purpose of this life was to explore this variety and detail for the purpose of giving birth to an expanded awareness to you. Because you understood that once that happened, that Source would follow the thread of it and organize circumstances and events. And you knew that by your quest for joy, that you would continue to close that gap. And you understood that it would not be possible for this time-space reality to cause a desire to be born within you without this time-space reality having the ability to deliver it to you. And you thought that would be fun. Did you come forth to fix a broken world? No, because from your broad view, you know the world is not broken. Did you come forth to dissuade others from beliefs that don't seem to be working for them? No, because you know that you cannot vibrate for another. You came forth to set an example of someone who understands the laws of the universe and applies them deliberately for the purpose of joy. That's why you came.
Thank you.
And we notice that you are doing extremely well.
Thank you, Abraham.